Hey guys, Jen here. I just got all the kids resting. They're watching a cartoon, minus one who's sleeping. So I thought that I would take this time and just start this video for you guys because I'm not going to make this recipe tonight. But I wanted to talk to you about the history of the recipe, my history, and also just history about it culturally. So I want to share with you guys the recipe apple Kuchen. So apple Kuchen is a recipe where Kuchen means cake in German. So my grandfather was German, and this comes from his mother. So it's apple Kuchen from Mother Ludemann is what the recipe is called. And they used to have this apple Kuchen every Christmas. His mom would make it for him and his 13 brothers and sisters as a special treat. And traditionally in Germany, apple Kuchen was just special, whether it be on Christmas or on New Year's Eve. So my grandpa eventually found this recipe. Like my parents and his, like when my mom, I guess, was young, they didn't do this tradition like he did when he was young. But we dug this out one year and we just decided, well, why the heck aren't we doing this tradition? So we started doing it on Christmas. When I was probably like in my late teen years, we started doing it on Christmas. And now we keep it going with my family, and me and Justin make it a point to make sure that we do it every Christmas. We have everything we need. We always have everything we need because it's kind of basic pantry supplies. But yeah, the kids know that it's apple Kuchen and we have it on Christmas. And I won't lie to you, sometimes we'll have it, honestly, probably like 3, maybe 4 times a year, including Christmas. We'll make it every now and then, you know, if the kids want it for a special day, like a birthday or something like that, we'll be like, of course, yeah, we can make apple Kuchen, not a big deal. But traditionally, it is a special Christmas dessert. So what it is, it's like a donut. It's like a donut hole, or like a fritter. You fry it in this cool pan. So we're going to talk more about this pan. And yeah, but it's really cool. So that's kind of like a little bit of the history, like where it came from with my family. But let's talk about culturally. So apple Kuchen is one way to call this apple cake, or you can call it, let's see here. I got my notes over here, so I'm going to have to look. It's called Forchen. I don't speak German, so please, I butcher that. But it's Pforchen. And traditionally, the Germans, they cooked it on Christmas. And this is more northern Germany, per my research, northern Germany. And their fritter donut, the Germans traditionally made theirs with yeast, which is something that was very interesting that I found. Traditionally made with yeast. My recipe doesn't use yeast. It uses baking soda and baking powder, which is more of a Danish tradition, Danish pastry. So, let me tell you, the Danes also use this pan. And this pan also can be called a Danish pastry pan. So, the Danish call this pastry Aberskiver is what they call it. And traditionally they cover it with a powdered sugar or they fill it with a fruit filling. Now ours, we cover with powdered sugar, and we don't do anything else. My grandpa said that they used to put raisins in theirs and he absolutely hated it. So he forbade us. He didn't like it. So we didn't do it. Okay, so we didn't do that. We just cover them with powdered sugar. So the Danish traditions say that the Vikings actually were the ones who came up with this. So after they were out and they were in their wars and they were fighting and they used their shields and they come back and have all these dings and dents in their shields, that they needed something with sustenance to pretty much bring them back to life, give them back their energy. So they would take their shields, all dented, and put them over the fire. They would put fat in the holes, and then they would pour pancake batter in each one of the holes and flip them and fry them like they were a donut. So that's where the Aberskiver, they say, come from, is from the Danish Vikings, cooking them off of their shields. So then you look at the pastry pan that we're using that looks like a shield. It has all these little holes in it, all of these little dents that we fill with fat and then pour batter in and flip. So I thought that was pretty cool, that, you know, that story, whether it's true or whether it's not, that's just kind of what I found. And I thought it was interesting, and I thought that you guys would kind of like that little bit of history. But regardless, whether it's a German recipe or whether it's a Danish recipe, whether it's some other culture's recipe, I'm going to call it apple Kuchen. And it's been around since about the 16th century, and it uses different leavening agents in it to make it rise. And I mean, it's delicious. Who doesn't like a donut? So anyway, we're going to make this and you guys are going to enjoy it. But what we do is I fill all of these little circles with a fat. I let it melt, and then I plop the dough in there, and we make donuts, and we cover them with powdered sugar. So in my near future, in our kids' near future, we're going to have some Kuchen. All right, guys, it's Jen here, coming back to you, finishing up the apple Kuchen video. So the recipe starts with 3 egg yolks. I already cracked them and put them in this pan, and then you beat the 3 egg whites, which I have already done, and I'll kind of clip in pictures of me beating these egg whites. Okay, the 3 egg whites are in the mixer. The mixer's on high, and we're gonna whip them until they become stiff peaks, and then we're gonna fold them into our mixture for apple Kuchen. We've got some beautiful stiff peaks with our egg whites. Okay, so we take the 3 egg yolks, just kind of mix them up a little bit, break them, and then we add 4 teaspoons of sugar. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 teaspoons of sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of salt. I spilt a little bit of it there. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. 2 cups of milk or buttermilk. I don't have any buttermilk at this time, so I'm just using milk. You can make buttermilk really easily, and I like to use whole milk, just a preference. You can use any kind of milk you have. You can even use cream. I've done that before, but then it makes the batter a little bit more thick. So I like to use whole milk. Just gonna pop that in there. Okay, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. One teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So this is what I was talking about at the beginning, where this uses soda and powder, whereas other recipes can use yeast or one or the other. The children are going to be so excited that they get to have some apple Kuchen. Okay, baking soda, baking powder, and then 2 cups of flour. Get rid of this guy and do 1 and 2. Perfect. And then we just mix this really well together, and then we fold in the egg whites. So in this recipe, you also could put some cardamom. My grandpa, he really likes putting cardamom in it. My husband doesn't really like it, so I steer clear of it. And honestly, the kids don't know the difference, so it's not really that big of a deal. But just adds a little bit more flavor. Okay. But with the powdered sugar at the end, oh my gosh, you're not even gonna miss the cardamom. Okay, so if you guys can see, it's kind of like a thicker pancake batter mixture. So drop that in there. Now, we're going to add in the egg whites. Now, egg whites, if you guys haven't cooked with these before, they're very delicate, so they're very airy, and the whole point is to add that air into the to the recipe. So you just fold them in gently. Just turn your spoon, fold them over, fold them in nice and gently. We don't stir them fast. We don't just be very, very harsh with them. Just delicate. Very, very delicate. There we go. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the pot, or I get the pan, I guess. Now we're gonna get the pan heating with the oil in it so we can dip our batter in it. I'll give you guys a close-up of the batter. Okay, this is what the batter looks like when it's completely mixed. See all those air bubbles in it? That is from the egg whites. Look at it. It's just like pancake batter. And then we've got our fat, and then we've got our pan heating up. And I'm going to show you how I do that part next. Okay guys, so you just take a little bit of your vegetable shortening on a spoon. You take another spoon and you just plop it right into each one of these circles, okay? And then it's going to melt, and you're going to put some of your dough in there, or some of your batter in there. Okay, so it's probably about a tablespoon of oil in each one of these little holes. And if you have too much, no big deal. It'll just kind of run around on the edge, and there's a lip there, so it'll catch it. But once all of the oil is melted, we take our batter. Okay guys, there's the pan. It's got a little remnants on it because I've been doing it for a few minutes. Here's the batter, and here is the scoop. It's just a small scoop, so you have to remember when you're doing this, it has that baking soda and baking powder in it, and now it's going to make it rise. Watch. Look at how it just takes up the majority of that space. Okay? So we're just going to fill it. Fill all of them. I'm trying to do two things at once here. I'm trying to video myself and watch what I'm doing. So then we just flip them like that with the fork, and just kind of get them turned. The oil kind of just helps them float, and they just kind of roll over. And then you grab them and put them over on your plate with all the other Kuchen. Perfect. Look at that. And then you just dust it. You just shake it, or you can use a fork. Sometimes it's easier just to shake it. You can get a little bit more out and on them if you just shake it right over the top. Look at that. Beautiful. Let me take a bite. Perfect. Crispy outside, tender soft center. It's literally like a beautiful donut. Or even like a churro, I guess, maybe is the texture. All right, guys. This is the real life of cooking apple Kuchen. Come over here. All sorts of messy.